And there's 12 Senator Boxer joins me right now. As I welcome you, we're glad to have you here because it has been quite a week. Have you really never seen the Democratic Party this united?
It has been a very long time. And there have been times when I've seen this type of excitement. And I go way back when I was very young to JFK, and people said, oh my God, youth and energy, and that speaks to America. And he won, and we know the tragedy that followed. Then we had Bill Clinton and Al Gore. I remember that because that's when I went to the Senate, and they were a young team, and that made a huge difference. And then, of course, Barack Obama, the excitement there, and now Kamala Harris. And the difference between her and Trump is incredible. Not only their vision, hers, America the Beautiful, and him, he talks about America the loser. We don't want that. And then there's the energy, and there's the spontaneity and the ability to talk to our hearts that she has. And I just have to say, my last remarks here, we're into a 5-alarm fire. I saw Trump say last night to a group that this would be the last election. Mm-hmm. He said, vote, this will be the last election. If you take that and his promise to be a dictator on day one, we're in a 5-alarm fire. And I can't say it enough. I've given so many years to public life. I've never seen this. And the good news is we can put out the fire if we all vote. Republicans, Democrats, independents, all of us.
Vote for democracy is what you're saying. Vote for democracy and the preservation of that. Let me ask you about President Biden and his immediate endorsement of Vice President Harris. I want to play some of what Biden's longstanding friend, and I'm sure a friend of yours as well, Congressman James Clyburn, said on Friday. Let's take a watch at that.
And so Joe Biden can consider himself with a very special place in this nation's history. He served for 8 years as vice president to the first African-American president. He picked as his running mate the first woman to be vice president of the United States. And he has handed the torch to a woman who could very well be the first woman president of the United States.
So, like, as energized as Democrats are, do you get the sense that they've had a chance to fully appreciate the historical significance of Joe Biden's impact?
Maybe not. But what they are doing is looking at themselves, their life. What would their life be like under a Donald Trump? Women will be forced to give birth. There won't be contraception. They want to end and change forever Social Security and Medicare. And they want to deport millions of people. And that will break up American families. So people are looking at the future, not even to mention how bad a record that Trump had on jobs and how great a record Biden and Harris have had. So I don't know that most people have looked at Joe at this point. They're so excited looking to the future. But I can tell you, from my standpoint, his stepping aside so selflessly and throwing his support to Kamala Harris, that saved us the chaos that would have ensued on an open convention that some were calling for. We still have a chance for other people to run, but his endorsement solidified it. She is prepared. If you look at her and you look at Trump, just their personal stories, she is the personification of the American dream. Look, I'm the daughter of a refugee, my mother. My dad was born in America, the only one of 9 children. And I know what it meant to my mother when she got her naturalization certificate and she put it in saran wrap. And when she passed, it was the only thing that was so protected. And Kamala, look at her history. And this is what America is about. Whereas Donald Trump, he was born on third base and he barely made it home. He went to so many bankruptcies. So we've got a story to tell, you know, the personal stories of both candidates, but even more important, what are our lives going to be under a Trump dictator versus a Kamala Harris democracy. It's such an exciting and important moment.
Can I ask you to drill down a little more on that? Because Vice President Harris began her career in San Francisco. She had a 26-year career as a prosecutor. And then in 2016, when you, Barbara, did not seek re-election, she won your seat in the U.S. Senate. And you've had a front row seat to her success. What can you tell us about her and her political instincts?
Well, I think she's very smart. And I think by working as a prosecutor, it's very, very helpful because she can prosecute the case against Trump. And she saw the worst of it. She saw the abusers. She saw the cheaters. She saw the thieves. And she went after them. And, you know, some people on the left try to use it against her. But you have to have, as she pointed out, safe communities. So I think she brings that to the table. When she ran for my seat, then I had held it for 24 years, she ran against another woman. And she was very smart about how she ran that campaign. It was a very positive campaign. Her opponent was quite negative. So she showed that she had the vision, and she won big in that race.
Let's take a look at how the Harris campaign has framed two press releases this week. First, buyer's remorse, Trump's VP pick already a disaster, and statement on a 78-year-old criminal's Fox News appearance. So first of all, is J.D. Vance a disaster? And what is your assessment of her approach to Donald Trump?
Well, for whatever it means, the day I found out that J.D. Vance was the pick, and I knew about his crazy right-wing views, I put out on my account that it was the worst pick since Sarah Palin. I just knew it in my bones. He said once that Trump was going to be America's Hitler. He said anyone who voted for Trump was an idiot. How does he get picked for this thing? I mean, you talked about how Kamala is looking for a running mate. You want to find someone that you have a rapport with. But then again, you look at Trump, look what happened to his last VP. He almost killed his last VP. And Pence isn't even supporting Trump. So, you know, Vance was a terrible, terrible pick. And he's a chameleon. Now he's going after women of all stripes. If you have children, he's going to force you to give birth to more and not give you a chance at having your right to choose. If you never had the children, he insults you and he wants you to pay more taxes. This guy is a total and complete disaster.
Okay, well, that is the opposite of you, former California Senator Barbara Boxer. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. Appreciate you coming on the show.